Hey, what's up, y'all? It's L Love with Misconceptions. We identify the misconception and we expose the truth. So I'm here to holler back at you. I'm so hyped. I'm glad if you chopped in with me through the first episode. Um, Here's the second episode. I'm so glad you came back with me to hang out with me. Come on this journey with me. I'm so glad. In honor of what today's episode is going to be about, nope, this was not planned. This was not planned. However, in honor of what today's episode is going to be about, hello, bruh. This is my dog, bruh. So, he may be in and out. He may be in and out today, and you're going to get to know him. This is one of the people that y'all going to get to know. So in honor of today's episode, we're talking about vulnerability. So this is somewhere it's like, yo, this wasn't planned, and nope, I'm not perfect, and here we are. So boom. So today we're talking about vulnerability. A lot of things with vulnerability has some negative connotations to it. Okay, we don't want to be vulnerable. It's like vulnerability is some things that will make you think, oh my gosh. It is something where I try to avoid being vulnerable for the most part. People are like, that's vulnerable in that area. I don't want to be vulnerable here. I don't want people to know I'm vulnerable there, or I only want to expose my vulnerability to this or that or that. However, I developed or began to understand a different way to understand vulnerability through my experience that I've had with walking through my journey with MS and just walking through my life. And I believe it'll be something that you can relate to as well. So while we're talking about vulnerability, but before we can even dissect all of that, and I could talk about benefits and how I grew and all of that, before we can even get into all of that, we got to get an understanding of what vulnerability is not. Before we can talk about what vulnerability is, we got to talk about what it's not, okay? Because it has so many different definitions. Some people might think it's this, some people might think it's that. But let's get a solid, clear definition of what vulnerability is. So I pulled up the handy dandy definition, okay? And vulnerability, the definition as it states, the quality or state of being exposed to the possibility of being attacked or harmed, either physically or emotionally. So the quality or state of being exposed or attacked physically or emotionally. So who has a quality or is in a state of being that could be attacked physically or emotionally? Give it a couple seconds. Who could that? If you didn't think like, duh, everybody, me, every single human being is vulnerable to something. Everyone is vulnerable to something. We all share this quality. We all share it. It's kind of like, why are we all acting like we don't have the same situation we walk it in? It's like, man, that dude got ears. Everybody got ears, bro. Like, why are we talking about this dude? What? Like, I mean, I guess people have different levels of vulnerabilities, but we all have a vulnerability. And so when we try to perceive or act like we don't, that's actually more stress and hurt and harm to us. On top of that, the truth behind the misconception is that there is strength when you walk in who you are and be honest about the vulnerabilities that you have. There's strength in your weakness, so to speak. There's strength in the places where you're weak. Where you're weak, you can be strong. Okay? And I'm going to give you some examples. Practical, personal, all that. Okay. So if you don't believe me, but that's fine. I'm just gonna give you a few little tidbits and then leave you with a challenge. So for me personally, this concept became so clear. Um, when I was first diagnosed, I didn't want anybody to know. Your girl wasn't gonna be vulnerable with this because I was 17 in high school in the 2000 early 2000s, late. Nobody would try to. No, okay, that was a different time and space then for y'all younger ones. I know the ones that are like older are like or older than they're like, girl, you a baby. But no, now it's tame the way that things are in a sense because they didn't have no kind of nobody had filter. They didn't care about hurting your feelings in a sense, and it was just a thing. My point is, nobody wanted to be. I didn't want anybody knowing. Okay, I didn't want anybody knowing. I didn't want anybody to look at me different. Um, so I didn't want to be vulnerable in the space where people knew that I had a chronic, incurable illness that I didn't know much about. I didn't know much about, and nobody knew much about. In that time, it was known but not well known, and no one that looked like me had. No one that looked like me had it, and so I was very, I was very quiet about it. Up until a few years ago, there's certain people that never even knew that I had it. And with having an invisible illness, it's easy to hide your vulnerability. Okay. But that doesn't make it any less easy or any less any that doesn't make the simplicity of hiding it doesn't make it any less. The simplicity of hiding something does not hurt, does not thwart the fact that you hurting yourself more. Okay. Just because something easy don't mean you're not hurt. It just doesn't mean it ain't worse. Okay. Let me tell you why. I became more and more sick the more and more I tried to hide it. The more and more I tried to not expose and have people tell me that I needed their help or I needed someone or I was weak or I wasn't well, this is when I put it more on myself and the strength that I did not have. Trying to not look vulnerable, I became more and more sick. So, what areas will you say? So physically, I was like, no, yeah, you okay, Toya? Nope. Yeah, I'm good. Knowing like I couldn't feel my legs. So I would continue working hard and pushing hard, until the point where I pushed myself so far that went to my lowest point where I had to let go of a job that was like my dream job because I just couldn't hold it anymore because of my health was basically like just gave out on me. Emotionally, I would have these breakdowns, because I was trying to hold in and put up this facade that everything's great. Because people that did know I had it, I wanted you to think, like, wow, she's carrying it so well. Okay. Spiritually, I wanted all my people at church to say, wow, she's such a ooh, man, God is so good, and da 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 da. And look how God has been graced to carry her. I didn't want to be vulnerable because I didn't want people to know. But what didn't I want people to know? Because remember, if we circle back, did I just not want people to know I was human? What was it? So as I began to get sicker and sicker, I was like, okay, this is counterproductive. This ain't making no sense. this is making no sense. So I said, I had to really do some things differently. And then it occurred to me, the more I began to be vulnerable in those areas, I it was reciprocated in the sense of, if I said I was tired, people came to help. Go figure. If I said I didn't feel well, people would come and give me medicine to help me. If I said I was sad or depressed, people would come alongside and carry the load. And I would feel strong. So when I was weak, I got stronger. I can say right now, as I am trying to be emotionally honest and emotionally honest in who I am, the best I can. Am I perfect? No. Are there areas I want to be better in? Absolutely. I can say I am the most physically, emotionally, spiritually healthy that I've been, because I am developing and growing in the areas of vulnerability. And I had to shift my thinking from vulnerability is bad to vulnerability actually is where that's going to expose like my growth. It's going to expose like, oh shoot, okay, if I'm vulnerable here, that actually is going to give me the ability to grow and find my strength and find strength somewhere where I didn't know where it was going to come from. And it's going to come. Okay? And I am a living testament of that. So do not be afraid. Is it scary? Yeah, because you don't know where it's going to come from. That's why we run from it, because we're scared. But let's be human. Let's be human. Or do we know all the answers? No, we don't. So are we going to be scared? Yeah. Let's be human. It's kind of like, choose your hard. Choose your hard. You can either be like, all right, I'm going to pretend that everything's cool because I don't want people to see the sides of me that they see that I'm not perfect. And that's a heavy load. So that's a heavy, you want to carry that? Or do you want to carry the load of like, here's people know my vulnerability. That's the difference. Everybody has a vulnerability. It just is different. So, and I'm not saying it's not hard. It's hard to be vulnerable. There's just benefits there. But choose your heart. Choose it. Choose your heart. I'm telling you, the latter helped me not be sick. Okay. And I found strength where I didn't know there was. And I became closer to people and to God and to areas where I didn't know it could ever happen. So don't be afraid to be who you are. And a part of being who you are is being human. And a part of being human is being vulnerable. So I challenge you, like I'm going to do every single time. Every episode, I'm going to try to leave you with something. So I challenge you this week. What area in your life can you be more vulnerable in? Or what area of your life can you be vulnerable in? Or just be honest in? There's several ways you can. Me, as a licensed practicing counselor, yes, I am. I also am a licensed counselor, and so these kinds of things are aspects that I encourage my clients to do often. But this is just some tidbits, some ideas, ways to start to be vulnerable. Because this is I will walk alongside you, and I want y'all to walk with me and journey with me as we go through this. Y'all gonna be with me as we do this. As we walk through these things and find more misconceptions and be like, yo, there's truth here. And there's truth and strength, and we're gonna find it. We're gonna find it and walk with it together. And as we do, I want us to get stronger. Okay? So, some ways to start. If this is like foreign to you, some ways to start is be vulnerable with yourself. Okay? Some people do that by journaling. Some people do that by, in the morning, kind of just taking some time to just be honest, kind of praying, meditate, being present. However you want to just be with yourself. And that some people, that's foreign for you too. But what area in your life can you be more vulnerable? If it's with someone in your life, if you have someone in your life where you can, awesome. Do that. Try to say, okay, I'm going to tell them, I'm going to stop saying I'm okay when I'm not. Just start. Okay? These are some practical ways to begin to do that. And I promise you, is it going to be easy? No. But it's going to pay off, and your strength is going to shine through, because we're all with you, and it's going to come. The strength is going to come. It's going to come. And I can't wait to hear about it. I cannot wait to hear about it. I really want you guys to don't forget to comment and like and share and subscribe, and keep walking with me. I want y'all with me on this journey. Don't abandon the misconception. Come along with me. Like, share, subscribe. I love each and every one of you, and I will see you all next week.
Misconceptions.